All right, so today we got an 8th generation Honda Accord. So this should cover the 2008 through 2012. This is also the 2.4 liter engine. So the first thing we're going to do is disconnect this negative battery terminal. Today we are going to remove and replace this vapor canister purge valve right here. And before we remove it, I'm going to go over a couple of places that it needs to be removed from. So you have this connection here. This is a vacuum hose on this side. There's normally a clamp, like one of these clamps on here, but for some reason it's not on this one. So you're gonna have to remove that clamp to get this vacuum hose off. And then there's another clamp right here on the back side. There's a vacuum hose there. So we got to remove that clamp as well. Then there's the harness plug for it right here. All we have to do is press this tab in the back and then pull that up. So I'm gonna try that now. All right, so I was able to press that in and pull it up. This is what the keyways in the harness plug itself looks like. So now we have that off. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove my vacuum lines as well. So this one here was already loose. So I'm gonna just pull that one off because there wasn't a clip on that one. So the one in the back here, so these are just finger tight. So you can press these clips by hand and move them back. So there's no reason to pull the vacuum line all the way off yet because both of these are mounted down, so you'll be just struggling with it. So let's get this unmounted first. So there's two 8mm bolts holding this down. There's one on top and one on the bottom. Let's get those out. Then we should be able to pull this off of this hose easier that way. So getting the top one out was easy, but the bottom one, you can see there's no room to really get in there. So I'm gonna show you how I did it. So I just used an 8mm wrench and I went in at an angle and I used this side. So you're gonna have to grab it. It's only a small bolt, it doesn't take a lot of pressure to get off. You're gonna have to grab it at an angle like this and then turn it and break it free. And then once you break it free, you should be able to get it off with your finger. So I was able to get it in just like that and grab, and then I was able to turn it and boom, like that. And like I said, you have to get in there at an angle, so it's not easy. But once you're able to get it on there and turn it, then you can get in there with your hands and finish getting it off with your fingers. Okay, so once we got those bolts out, we were able to pull this back part out of this tube here even easier. So don't try to pull this tube off before, because that part behind that tube is mounted and this is mounted. So you try to pull that tube off, you'll be fighting for no reason. So get this unmounted first and then you can pull that back hose off. So now that we have this part, I can show you what this looks like. So this is the keyway for it here. You can see there's two keyways on the side, and this is a 2-pin. So hopefully this helps you find your new part for this as well. All right, so we have our brand new part. We're getting ready to put this on. So what we're gonna do is the same thing, but in reverse. So we're gonna put the back part in this hose first. Let's get that pushed in there. And then we're gonna line up those bolt holes and we're gonna get our two bolts back in there. So let's get our two 8mm bolts back in there now. All right, so let's get this hose back on this side here. And remember, mine don't have the small clip, but yours should. So get that clip back on there. And then we can put this, and now we can get this harness on as well. So I'm gonna reach in here and clip this harness on. Just like that. And once the harness is on, that's pretty much it. That's how you change the part. And don't forget to reconnect your negative battery terminal after the job is done.